Hey, welcome! Today, we're going to break down a really classic fable. It's super short, but wow, is it powerful. It's a story about a simple problem, an unlucky bystander, and a final decision that has, believe it or not, echoed through the ages.
So right at the center of this whole story is this one question. Can you really be innocent if you're found hanging out with the guilty? I mean, that's a tough one, right? It really makes you think about things like justice, perception, and where your own responsibility begins and ends. Let's dive in and see how this story handles it.
Okay, so every story has a beginning, and this one starts with a farmer who's facing a pretty serious threat. We're talking about his work, his food. Literally, his entire livelihood is on the line.
So here's the deal. The farmer's problem is actually super straightforward. He's just planted his new field of corn, but this flock of cranes keeps showing up and eating all the seeds. His goal? Well, it's just as clear. He has to protect his crops, otherwise all of that back-breaking work was for nothing.
So what's his plan? He takes immediate action. No magic spells, no complicated schemes, just a really practical solution. He lays out a huge net in his field, hoping he can catch these little thieves in the act. But, as you're about to see, the result of this simple plan, well, it gets a lot more complicated than he ever expected.
The very next morning, the farmer heads out to his field to see if his plan worked. He's fully expecting to find a net full of those pesky cranes. What he actually finds, though, is a complication, a real twist that changes the whole meaning of the story.
And there it is, right there. Tangled up with all the destructive cranes in the exact same net is one single stork. A bird that's known for being graceful and dignified, not for stealing corn. The trap definitely worked, but it caught more than just the guilty ones.
And this just lays out the problem perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the cranes. No question there. They were caught, red-handed, guilty. But then you have the stork. It was just there, caught in the exact same trap, but is it just as responsible?
Now we get to the real drama of the story. The stork, seeing the mess it's in, starts to plead for its life. And it's not just a simple plea, it's this desperate, passionate argument for why it shouldn't be lumped in with the others.
Just listen to the words here. The stork isn't just saying, hey, I didn't do it. It's making a case for its entire character. It's talking about being a dutiful bird, one that honors its parents. It's trying to prove that it is fundamentally good, and because of that, it must be innocent.
So let's just break down its defense. It's basically a three-part argument. First, it denies the specific crime. I haven't eaten any of your corn. Second, it denies doing anything wrong at all. I haven't done you any harm. And third, it appeals to its own good character. I mean, logically, that seems like a pretty solid case, right?
But the farmer, he's not moved at all. His view of the world is based not on someone's character or what they intended to do, but on the cold, hard facts of the situation. He listens to the whole plea, and then he delivers his final judgment.
The farmer's reply is just like a hammer blow. He says, all this may be true, but I have caught you with those who were destroying my crops, and you must suffer with the company in which you are found. See that? He doesn't even argue with the stork's claims. For him, it doesn't matter what the stork's character is. The only thing that matters is who it was with. What the farmer is doing here actually has a name. It's called guilt by association. It's this idea that you can be judged and, even punished just because of who you hang out with, no matter what you yourself have or haven't done. This fable is a perfect and very old example of this concept in action. So, what are we supposed to take away from this pretty harsh story? Well, the fable doesn't pull any punches. It ends with a very clear and very unforgiving moral that has served as a warning for thousands of years. And there it is. That's the core lesson right there. It's not about what's fair or what's just in some perfect world. It's a very practical, if tough, lesson about how perception works. Who we associate with becomes a kind of shorthand for who we are in other people's eyes. The farmer isn't judging the stork's soul, he's judging the risk it represents based on its friends.
And that brings us to the final, really important question. This isn't just some old story about birds and a farmer. It's a mirror. It's asking us to take a hard look at our own lives, our friendships, our connections. Because whether it's fair or not, the farmer's way of thinking is still out there. So it's worth asking yourself, who is in your flock?